Welcome back. Thanks so much for joining us. We're talking with Brian Unruh. He's the EMS director at the hospital here, the North Arkansas Regional Medical Center, and he's here to talk about some things, some exciting things.
Well, I think so. I mean, it's a little bragging, if you'll forgive me.
Well, you need to brag.
You know what? You need to brag.
And I'm always impressed. Now, for people that don't know, there's competition every year.
Yes.
Down in Hot Springs, it's a conference.
Yes.
And during that conference, they have competition between the whole state of Arkansas.
They have several different little competitions. One is for service, and then there are levels of ambulance services. There what they call a BLS, or a basic life support ambulance service, and then there's an advanced life support, or ALS, and that's what we are. And so there are service competitions for service of the year and that sort of thing, and then there are individual competitions for teams of participants. Like paramedics will go and they'll compete in a paramedic competition. EMTs will do the same. And that sort of thing.
Well, how does that work? I mean, it's pretty fierce down there. You're butting heads against Little Rock.
Everybody in the state.
Everybody in the state.
Anybody that wants to enter that is a licensed EMSer can compete, and all the ambulance services have the opportunity to apply for or to submit for service of the year.
So, I mean, it's an actual hands-on competition. You don't know what the scenario. There's a scenario. Is that right?
Okay, I was going to ask, how does it?
Well, all right. I'll start my bragging now.
Okay.
Mr. Jason King and Brian Kaufman, both are paramedics for us, seasoned paramedics for us, went down and competed this year in the ALS competition, paramedic level competition.
There's a picture of them on the screen.
Aren't they handsome?
You bet.
And their scenario was, it started out pretty basic. You just went into a scene where the patient was complaining of shortness of breath. Then, of course, they can't let it be something that simple. So then there's a mock explosion. They open up the curtains, and now they are dealing in a meth lab situation. So they have to react to what's their environment, what are the dangers, how do they need to treat these people now that this is not just a simple, I don't mean to say simple, but a simple short of breath call. Now they have to take into account the whole scene, the safety, the hazards, and the new dealings. And they
also need to protect themselves, too.
Exactly. And they did really, really well. The 14th the Drug Task Force, I shouldn't say just the 14th Judicial Drug Task Force, but the Drug Task Force come in and set up an actual meth lab, well, obviously cleaned and scrubbed, but to mock it up, and were there as part of the judging for this on how you operate and how they're dealing in. The guy from the Drug Task Force actually come up to our guys afterwards and said, "Dead on, you did perfect. This was
wonderful.
Great."
Cool.
We don't know how they did on all their scoring. They made second. They won second place, so I'm very proud of them for that. But we do know that on the hands-on portion of it, they scored 169 out of 170 points. So they walked pretty tall.
You bet they did.
Yeah. And this is not the first time your department has won awards.
Oh, well, and we've won the competition several times, that hands-on portion of the competition. Several, I think 5 first place wins in that, and a couple second place, and I think 1 or 2 third place finishes. So no, we like to compete at it. Kind of strut a little bit.
Why do you think us here has an advantage?
Well,
come on,
I got to be careful about that.
Or what?
No,
it's a loaded question.
It has nothing to do with the director. You know, it's like I tell my guys, they don't realize how good they are. They truly don't. They just do what they do every day, and they consider that to be the right thing. And it is the right thing, but they're actually really, really good. I mean, when I came in here, the people that I came in and started working with were kind of my idols, if you want to call it that. Those are the people I wanted to be like. And it's just continued to progress. And it's just really, really dedicated and good folks.
I really think the environment, the working environment, has a lot to do with it, too. The way I guess the atmosphere of the people that work there and how they work together.
It's kind of funny. It's the clan theory. We'll whoop up on each other, but nobody else ought to mess with us because we'll take care of our own really well. So we're very united together. I mean, we support each other really well, but we'll be the first one to say, you need to pick this up. You need to be a little bit better here. And so we'll pick ourselves apart, which is what you want. I mean, in this kind of industry.
Constructive criticism.
Right. You want to be able to say, okay, I need to be better here. I need to work on this. This is something we want to do. And my guys are very motivated to do that. And gals. I just call them all guys. So.
Yeah. And I think the location of where we're at, too, has a lot to do with it.
We live in a very rural, we live in rural America. There's no doubt about it. And for my folks, when we cover Boone, Newton, and Searcy County, we're allowed to be on an ambulance for a long time with somebody.
Yeah.
In some of the bigger cities, they may see their patient for 4 or 5 minutes,
Right.
and they're at a
Right, and they're
hospital.
done.
Well,
And everything's flat and on pavement, too.
right, and it's quick access. Well, you're
Not
out in
so
the
much here.
back. I'm from Mount Judy, so you pick up my mom, who lives over there right now. You're 45 minutes to a hospital.
Right.
Doesn't matter how you try to drive it, it's going to take you about that
Yeah.
long, and so you better be willing to go a little bit further.
And you have a variety of calls, too. I mean, I monitor some of that stuff, too. And you have hike-ins where people are at Lost Valley and they broke a leg, and you have to hike in, or somebody's in a cave, or...
One of the last big ones we had was over Fallen Water area. And we spent close to 16 hours
Wow.
dedicated to that to try to get the patient out at that point. And so, we had all that to somebody right beside the hospital, which takes a couple minutes to get to them and a couple minutes back. So it's a wide variance.
Well, there were some other questions that were submitted. We wanted to talk a little bit about that, but we talked about how many wards you had.
Yeah.
And you talked about what an EMT and a paramedic are, and they're basically the same, except one's more advanced.
Right.
Right.
About another year of schooling.
Okay.
Is the difference, and the ability, what you get when you take that other year of schooling is the ability to start IVs, give some medications. And that's the difference between, we won this year ALS Service of the Year, and we knocked it down calling it Paramedic Service of the Year because most folks don't understand the difference between ALS and BLS, and that's okay. That's nobody needs to but us, and so I don't know where I was going with that.
You want to talk a little bit more about? I mean, of course. You guys do a great job, but I think that you probably wouldn't need to give kudos to the other departments that you work with, like the police and fire and first responders and the volunteer fire departments out there.
We couldn't be happier. Everybody has a hero, and mine are the volunteer first responders and firefighters. They're just absolutely amaze me. I stand up and applaud them every chance we get. Dedicated folks that live out there in the middle of this rural America, and they dedicate their time and energy, the first responders do, and they're usually based in the fire departments. They do a phenomenal job. We don't know where everybody lives. I mean, a lot of our roads are not well marked on occasion. A lot of country
and I think
roads.
They're planning to change some of the 911 stuff, I think here in town mostly, but that is one of the most frustrating things is not knowing where to go.
Nobody likes to hear an ambulance make the backup alarm sound. You know,
Exactly.
Oh, that's the right place.
Yeah.
So, and that's what the first responders do for us. If they did nothing else, they know Ed Earl, who lives right down the road from him, we may not. And so when the call comes out and they get dispatched, they go, "Oh yeah, that's my neighbor," and they run right to him. They know right how to get there. And then when the ambulance comes along, we're talking on the radio, and they make sure we get right to where we want to be, or they come out in their personal vehicle and they'll lead us back into some of these places, which is very, very handy.
Yeah, well, one thing that was introduced, I think, last year is the GPS systems you have in every truck.
Yep.
And that's actually a locator
That's probably
system.
been very beneficial.
It's handy. It really is. We've got them in every ambulance that we have. It displays in our dispatch so we know where all our ambulances are. We just added in the last 3 or 4 months navigational devices. And what happens is the tracker will send the information to dispatch. Dispatch can type in what kind of call, where the call is. It'll pull up which this is the closest ambulance, and then they can send back to that ambulance that's closest. Here's your directions from where you're at right now. Turn left, turn right, go here, go there. Now we still have to know the area because welcome to rural America. It's not all well mapped down on the navigational devices, but it helps a ton. It gets us where we're going quickly.
Does that help save time?
Sure. That's the key benefit behind it is any minute.
Every minute might count.
Well, I think we've got a good service here. I think it's top notch.
As
proof to the awards that we're getting there, and there's a good representation. And that's probably not all of them either.
Oh, that's not. Unfortunately, we can't ever take a group photo because we're always out working.
How big is your department?
We have right at 86 employees.
Wow. Okay.
Run 3 counties, and then portions of about 3,200 square miles.
Okay.
So way back out there.
Well, congratulations on
congratulations.
this
We're pretty
honor
proud.
and the continuance of excellence in your
Well, we like
department.
it. But it's hard to follow and act like Humane Society, who's just on, because everybody loves a dog, and they're doing great work. I was pretty impressed by them. My dog's a Humane Society dog, so
well, there you go.
I got to throw my
Sorry.
plug in for them.
Too. All right. Well, Brian, thanks so much for being here. We always want you to come back if you've got something to share. If you want to gloat and be proud of your department, please come back some other time.
About any day. I'm good with that.
Thanks, Brian.
Thank y'all.
All right, up next, we're going to talk about a film that's coming out called Courageous, and Rick Whitmer is here to tell us all about it. Stay tuned.